Back to the channel, guys. Today I wanted to go over some Tory Lanez news. If you haven't heard, his legal team put out a website called 36 Hours, and this is Milagro Gramz going over what's on the website. So let's just get right into it.
Uh, so this is my first time going through these things like this with you. How did I find out about this? Let's go take a look. So first, it was Miss Angela Stanton King. She went online and she said, breaking. I have the breaking evidence that proves Tory Lanez's innocence. Here it is, 36 hours later, and not a single mainstream outlet has touched it. Ask yourself why. And then she listed a link to a website. Okay. And then Representative Ana Paulina Luna. She said, I know you all have been waiting. 36hourslater.com. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I go to the website that they posted. It says, the truth uncovered. Suppressed evidence proves Tory Lanez is innocent. For best viewing results, please turn your phone and refresh the page if you're on mobile. Now, before we get into this, I have a question. The other day, we were doing coverage on Kevin Liles. And Kevin Liles created a website. Remember? Kevin Liles created his own website. And it was focused on talking about all the reasons why Lady Luck wasn't shit, had posted her history with the police department.
I never knew.
You remember that?
I never knew.
Okay. And so we went through that. And I want to go to the website right now because my question is this harassment? It can't be if nobody had a problem with this website. Okay? Kevin Liles has vouched for Megan Thee Stallion. He's vouched for Young Thug and others. Anyway, the point is, by the time we get here, he done made a whole website. A whole website, child. Look at this.
That's funny, bro.
And I said, this is crazy, the time that we living in. But nobody had a problem with Kevin Liles just the other day posting a link to this on his official page and laying everything out. Nobody said a word. So I don't think there should be any back and forth as to why someone is defending their own name, their own reputation, trying to fight for their own freedom. So this is the webpage that was created. And let's go ahead. Look at this. Look at this. Lady Luck's criminal history. Doxing. And who started all of this? I think all of this started with that PowerPoint presentation. How did these types of games begin? With people doing homework now and making presentations and shit. Where did that start at? So I just want everybody to remember where I feel like this energy came from. All right, let's take a look. So we got pictures of Daystar from the professional sketch artist from when they had trial. It says truth becomes clear when the facts come to light. Key inconsistencies, unreliable testimony, and missing evidence prove Daystar Peterson, also known as Tory Lanez, was convicted based on a flawed and incomplete narrative. Through Megan Pete's own words, police reports, and expert analysis, the facts suggest that Tory Lanez did not fire the weapon and tried to stop the conflict. The case deserves to be reconsidered as the evidence points to a different truth. So we have a fact check list. It says, everybody, make sure you take a look. Megan told police and doctors she stepped on glass, not shot. Video and officers confirmed Megan stepped on a glass bottle, not hit by gunfire. Sean Kelly testified that 2 women fought in the street and one fired first, and that Tory was still in the car. Kelsey tested positive for gunshot residue. Her DNA was never tested against the gun. Kelsey received free rent for a year after the shooting. Who paid and why? EJ said an object in the girl's luggage looked like a gun. Megan claimed she spoke out in response to Tory, but the timeline proves that she went public first. Tory's DNA was not found on the magazine, only 0.01% on the gun, statistically irrelevant. 90% of the DNA on the gun belonged to an unknown male, not Tory. Tory's jail call apology was about the drama of sleeping with 2 friends, not a shooting. Tory has repeatedly said, I would never do anything like this. No bullet fragments on x-ray, no nerve damage, fractures, or joint trauma in Megan's medical records. Bullet fragments were lost, never presented at trial. The prosecutors misused Tory's rap lyrics, tattoos, and uncharged allegations to sway the jury. They say Kelsey's story changed multiple times. She admitted to lying under pressure, and Megan's own timeline and injuries don't match the story of a shooting.
Before she continues, if you have been paying any attention, like with a logical brain and eyes, then you know all of this is true, pretty much true. Yeah, when Megan went on live, I'll probably insert the clip. She went on there saying he was making statements and making false allegations, but she jumped on live first, like days before Tory even tried to defend himself.
On the right-hand side in blue, you see the blue text over here? It says, please note, Tory was not on probation at the time of the incident. He wasn't a felon, nor did he have a criminal record before the case. The owner of the gun has been sealed and has never been determined.
Kelsey.
Bottom line, the facts don't add up. The case against Tory Lanez is built on shifting stories, missing evidence, and lies. Tory Lanez did not shoot Megan. Table of contents, okay? This is nice and organized, okay? Stepping into the truth, not chapters. Hello? Okay. Table of contents. Stepping into the truth. Glass or gunshot? What did Megan say happened in the hospital? Timeline contradicts Megan's claims. Megan and Kelsey had a physical altercation. Sean Kelly's testimony. Sean Kelly's statement to the investigator. Sworn eyewitness testimony. EJ's testimony suggests gun in the girl's bag. Harris's testimony, inconsistent and unreliable. Kelsey confirms that she was not bribed. DNA proves that Tory Lanez is innocent. Text message evidence appears edited. Audio undermines the dance bitch claim. Medical facts don't match the narrative. Forensic red flags and medical doubt. The fragments went missing. Megan's faulty claims and medical records. Moments that show Tory cared. Misinterpreted apology, what Tory really meant. And prosecutorial misconduct concerns. Okay? This is your table of contents. And there you go. Ciao. All right. So, in her own words, I ain't get cut by no glass. But let me tell you why they saying that. Why are they saying that?
I ain't get cut by no glass, but let me tell you why they saying that.
Okay. Stepping into the truth. Glass or gunshot? The following videos, 1, 2, 3, 4A, and 4B, show Megan Thee Stallion injured at the scene, stating that she was cut by glass and not shot. Officers on site also confirmed that she stepped on a glass bottle. These clips are key in understanding the initial reports and the shift in her later statements.
Hold on, before she plays it. This is new. If this was presented in court, we didn't get to see it. This has not been on social media yet.
Quote, I wasn't shot. I did not get shot. Out of her own mouth. That's what she said. She said she had stepped on glass from the place that they had come from. I'm going to replay it one more time. Where we was coming from.
I'm not from here, so okay. I didn't get shot. Oh, you did it? No, man. I mean, no, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So you hear her say that she did not get shot. She wasn't shot. We're going to the next audio. This is number 2.
Shooting or anything? That's how we got dispatched.
Well, we have the gun here, and then we have other units. They're searching the house where it happened. So that's all we have so far.
So nothing happened in the vehicle.
No, we don't have any casings. No.
Okay, from what you've been told.
And then there's some cash over. Looks like.
Was the person who got caught with the other people here that you have in handcuffs? Were they all together?
They were all together.
Yes, they were all in the same car.
Okay, and then do we know how she got cut?
I believe when she stepped down, there's a.
She dropped a glass bottle, and then I think she stepped on it and cut herself. Getting out of the vehicle.
Okay, so
right there, bro. Come on, man.
Officers on the scene corroborate what you saw and what you heard in that video that went viral a couple of months ago. He said, how did she get cut? It's being acknowledged as a cut. They said a bottle. I'll play it one more time.
Fell off the car.
Shooting or anything? That's how we got dispatched.
Well, we have the gun here, and then we have other units. They're searching the house where it happened. So that's all we have so far.
So nothing happened in the vehicle.
No, we don't have any casings. No.
Okay, from what you've been told.
And then there's some cash over. Looks like.
Was the person who got caught with the other people here that you have in handcuffs? Were they all together?
They were all.
Yes, they were all in the same car.
Okay, and then do we know how she got cut?
I believe when she stepped down, there's a.
She dropped a glass bottle, and then I think she stepped on it and cut herself. Getting out of the vehicle.
Okay, so the forensic cut her then.
Right.
Well,
Ridiculous, man.
We're going to go to video number 3.
And there it is.
Did you see that? and I would make it bigger, but then it's gonna literally take up my whole screen, and then it's gonna block y'all out. But they start the video on the bottle by the car. See
With
it?
the blood.
You know what? One moment, please. Let me actually turn this chat off, or just remove it briefly, and I'm gonna do it one more time. Child. Well, let's do it like this then.
Look. Bruh.
Oh, you know what? If it's gonna do like that, let's start from the beginning, bitch. Child?
Yeah.
No, go back.
Ma'am, do you think we're gonna go to jail? What's that? Do you think we're gonna go to jail? I don't know. We're trying to figure it all out. As long as you guys cooperate with us and you guys tell us what happened, we'll go accordingly, okay? But if you guys are not telling us, if you guys are, then I really cannot go to jail.
She ain't panicking, crying, stressing, saying I got shot, nothing.
Okay. So how did that happen to you? Glass? Where?
She don't sound stressed, none of that.
I'm not from here, so okay. I didn't get shot. Oh, you didn't? No, ma'am. I mean, no, sir.
I didn't get shot.
Yeah.
That's what was said. I did not get shot. Next video.
Well,
And we're gonna start it from the top.
Evidence of any shooting or anything? That's how we got dispatched.
well, we have the gun here, and then we have other units. They're searching the house where it happened. So that's all we have so
Alright,
far.
so nothing happened in the vehicle.
No,
As of right now.
we don't have any casings. No.
Okay, from what you've been told. Okay.
And then there's some cash over. Looks like
Was the person who got caught with the other people here that you have in handcuffs? Were they all together?
they were all together.
Yes, they were all in the same car.
Okay. And then, do we know how she got cut? Or
We,
who cut her?
I believe when she stepped down, there's a glass
She
right
dropped a
here.
glass bottle, and then I think she stepped on it and cut herself, and
Okay.
getting out of the vehicle.
Okay. So her friends didn't cut her then.
Right.
Well,
All right.
How did the story go from that to this nigga shot me? Blood all on the bottle. It's crazy to think that one thing right there changed this whole situation around for Tory.
Video 4A.
She cut herself when she stepped out.
So hold on.
She cut herself when she stepped out.
Oh, that's it. It's so quick.
She cut herself when she stepped out.
She cut herself when she stepped out. It is so quick. And y'all see it quoted here. She cut herself when she stepped out. So this is an officer of the law. All of these people have training. We're talking about everybody that responded, the people in the ambulance, the people at the hospital. All of these people would know the difference between a gunshot wound and a cut from glass.
She cut herself when she stepped out.
Okay? For anybody wondering at this point, and this is just me taking a stab at it. Well, how was there already blood in the car? You heard her say that she cut herself at the place they were coming from. Is it possible? Cut herself, she's bleeding, there's been a physical altercation, and then she steps again down on a bottle? I don't know. Video 4B.
oh, she cut herself.
You heard that? She cut herself.
Oh, she cut herself.
Okay. That's what she said. She cut herself. Hold on, let me block somebody.
Ridiculous.
And if you want to say, well, she told all of these different people this because whoop, whoop, whoop. I mean, what about their training? Quote, I can't have this on my image. I can't have this on my image. In her own words, the police bitch was being so rude. But what happened in the hospital?
I get to the motherfucking hospital, the police bitch being so rude to me. Well, what, what's going on? Like, da-da-da, you're being detained, da-da-da. Ma'am, I'm being detained, I'm leaking. But I'm still not saying what happened. Shit crazy.
Okay. What did Megan say happened in the hospital? They say police calmly spoke with Megan, who said she stepped on glass and mentioned she already had cuts on her right foot from stepping on glass days before. Exhibit 5. These are medical professionals. So if the question is, well, why are you bringing this up? She already said that she was afraid. That has nothing to do with their formal training and what it is that they saw. But she confirmed again that she stepped on glass days before and that's all that it was. I'm going to play it again. You're going to have to listen very closely. This was during COVID, so they have the masks on. This is during quarantine. Where was the woman being rude? Can anyone say? This is how she described her.
I get to the motherfucking hospital, the police bitch being so rude to me. Well, what, what's going on? Like, da-da-da, you're being detained, da-da-da. Ma'am, I'm being detained, I'm leaking. But I'm still not saying what happened. Shit crazy.
I don't feel like I saw the woman being rude, but let me play it one more time.
Could have been before or after that. No, we don't know. It's only 30 seconds. Her demeanor seems like she's calm, though. She's not acting like a cop.
Okay. I wouldn't classify that as rude, but everyone is different. But that's not how I perceive that. They said, I had another cut on my right foot. I just stepped on glass the other day. So that's a quote from her. I had another cut on my right foot. I just stepped on glass the other day. Why on earth would you give a detail like that to medical professionals? Even if you were afraid and just wanted to say you stepped on glass, why not just say you stepped on glass? Why would you offer up the detail that you had stepped on glass prior? Okay. In her own words, I tried to keep it off the internet. However, Megan spoke first.
Mm-hmm.
So, since y'all hoes so worried about it, yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot me. And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Stop lying.
Didn't even say nothing yet.
Why lie? I don't understand. I tried to keep the situation off the internet.
Okay. Timeline contradicts Megan's claims.
Let's
so
go.
We have different pieces. They said Megan claims that she spoke out in response to Tory, but the timeline shows that she went public first.
Yep.
And so let's take a look. On July 15th, 2020, Megan posts about being shot. If you recall, she said, the narrative that's being reported about Sunday morning's events are inaccurate, and I would like to set the record straight. On Sunday morning, I suffered gunshot wounds as a result of a crime that was committed against me and done with the intention to physically harm me. I was never arrested. The police officers drove me to the hospital where I underwent surgery to remove the bullets. I'm incredibly grateful to be alive and that I'm expected to make a full recovery, but it was important for me to clarify the details about this traumatic night. I'm currently focused on my recovery so I can return back to my life and back to making music as soon as possible.
Right then, that day, this post came out. Tory, if I was Tory, I would have been right on your ass. Nah, hold up. None of that happened. And if you read this sounds like a PR. This sounds like Desiree Perez put it together. This is not how Megan talks. This is not the words Megan would use at all.
On July 16, 2020, they say Megan names Daystar to police. On July 27, 2020, Megan goes live on Daystar's birthday. On August 20th, 2020, they said Megan publicly names Daystar as the shooter. Daystar tweeted for the first time September 24th, 2020, and said to my fans, I'm sorry for my silence, but respectfully, I got time today, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On October 20th, 2020, Daystar spoke on Instagram Live, responding to Megan. Let's just start from over here and go this way. This is an excerpt from I would say a transcript. It says, nothing negative is this. That's why I didn't want to say nothing in the first place. This would have never came out if Tory would have never went to the internet telling everybody his side of the story.
When?
The answer that she gave was terrible because I didn't want to say anything in the first place. So not only did I not say anything, but now you want to get ahead of it and make yourself look like some type of victim. The question posed was, why didn't you want to say anything in the first place? There was an objection. They said asked and answered. The court said, I think we've covered that. Sustained. Kathy Ta said, what was your plan when this first happened as far as what you would say? She said, I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want it to go anywhere. I'm embarrassed. Okay, the question was, I know you told the police that you stepped on broken glass. About 4 days later, did you come forward to the police and tell them who shot you? Yes. And that was, and was that to a detective? Yes. So in those 4 days, what brought about the change of heart? I had a change of heart because I saw online that he had tried to start getting ahead of the story and put on a bunch of different narratives about what happened. And then they said, so how did that make you feel? But per their timeline, they say he didn't say anything. Has anybody ever been able to present proof that he or his team said anything? The shit happened on the 12th. She was already out on the 15th. Who said something? In her own words, I never put my hands on anybody, but the evidence says otherwise.
I never put my hands on anybody. I never raised my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy.
It shouldn't have escalated
right.
that it did.
So I get out the car and it's like everything happens so fast. And all I hear is this man screaming. He said, dance, and he started shooting. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, he shot a couple of times.
Okay.
Why would you get back in the car?
They said
with
Megan
him,
and Kelsey had a physical altercation. It says eyewitnesses and physical evidence indicate a physical fight between Megan P. and Kelsey Harris. Kelsey had open wounds and cuts on her leg that were actively bleeding. No injuries were reported on Tory Lanez. The fight was between the women. They said this is evidence of Megan and Kelsey's fight. They're showing us Kelsey's legs. Look at around Kelsey's feet.
Yeah.
Okay, and look at her legs.
Yeah.
Look like scratches.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, there was testimony that the other person was kicking. So maybe if you're kicking and you're grabbing and you're da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you can get these types of injuries.
All them
Megan had a knot
nails.
on her head in the ambulance.
Yep.
Where did that come from? We've looked at Daystar when he was taken in.
Look
No
fine to
defensive
me.
wounds.
No
It
blood
didn't look
on
like
him.
he was fighting anybody off or that he had fought anyone. She had nails on. So why doesn't he have any scratches, any bruises, anything? Okay.
Cold-blooded,
That's the question being
bruh.
posed. Kelsey's chain
Ridiculous.
was left in the middle of the street.
Wow.
And the actual Cuban link part was too. These are songs or lyrics from Megan's song Shots Fired. Quote, who a snitch? I ain't never went to the police with no names. I thought a bitch that got her chain snatched, caught a loss, had something to say.
Really?
So who is that about? One more time. These are the lyrics to her song. Who a snitch? I ain't never went to the police with no names. I thought a bitch that got her chain snatched, caught a loss, had something to say. To me, that sounds like an admission of a fight. Caught a loss, that you lost the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Chain snatched.
Yeah.
And then Kelsey responds, so I got my chain snatched. There you go, lying. So they seem to be speaking to one another. In her own words, there's a witness, and his name is Sean Kelly.
The people in the neighborhood, there's a witness. When the police came, because the neighbors called the police.
Okay. Sean Kelly's testimony. Eyewitness Sean Kelly told police, Exhibit 8A, and later testified under oath that he saw two women fighting in the street.
Wait.
They shot out of the car?
The windows were open, that's why it sounded like either way. I didn't
No,
feel
they
it.
were on my side. The girl opened the door, two girls fighting, and then they shot.
Okay.
She got out of the car and crawled over.
You heard that?
Wait.
No, it didn't.
They shot out of the car?
The windows were open, that's why it sounded like either way. I didn't
No,
feel
they
it.
were on my side. The girl opened the door, two girls fighting, and then they shot.
Okay.
She got out of the car and crawled over.
She got out of the car and crawled out. The two girls were fighting. That was mere minutes after the incident. So why would he make that up on scene? That the girls were fighting, she went to the car.
Why
And
would
what
he
did
say
he
that?
testify to? Sean Kelly said, they asked, and what did you see next, sir? They were fighting. They had started fighting. The two girls? Yes. And when you say the two girls were fighting, could you describe to the jury what you observed, what they were doing, and what they were fighting about? Not about, but how they were fighting. They were pulling their hair and hitting each other, and it was quite violent. It was quite violent. This is initially when you still only see the two girls, correct? Yes. And what happened at this point? Was the fight continuing? Was it stopped? They were. They were fighting for a while because I told my son to come into my room, and I asked him to get into my bed and then they were still. And they were still fighting. They was all bent over, sort of wrapped in each other, fighting. They said Sean Kelly's testimony. Sean Kelly testified that two women were fighting, and one of them fired the first few shots while Tory was still in the car. That's Exhibit 9A. He said that Tory got out afterward and tried to take the gun away. 9B. Let's take a look. Okay. Did you state, sir, that the shorter gentleman didn't come out of the car until the initial shot, fireworks had started? Yeah. Excuse me? Yes. So when the initial shot of fireworks had started, isn't it true you stated that my client was still in the car? Yeah, I believe so. The shorter gentleman was in the car? Yes. Okay. And did you state that initially you saw the two girls fighting? I did, yes. Did you say that after you saw the two girls fighting, you saw one of the girls shoot, sir? I believe so, but thereafter, did you say that the shorter guy, got involved at that point, trying to take the gun away? Mr. Bott said objection, leading. They said overruled. They said, is that what you said? The witness said yes. This is testimony, and this is sworn testimony. Their PowerPoint presentation told you to pay attention to sworn testimony, so there you go.
Ridiculous.
Sean Kelly's statement to investigators. In a separate interview, Sean Kelly said that he saw Kelsey and Megan fighting violently, with Kelsey, the rear passenger, attacking Megan, the front passenger. The driver, Jaquan, tried to intervene, and he stated that a woman fired the gun, while Tory Lanez, described as the shorter black guy, was still in the back seat of the SUV. There's no way that Tory fired that gun 5 times. That's Exhibit 9C and 9D. Take a listen.
The doors of the Escalade open.
We have captions. Let's start it over.
The doors of the Escalade open, and the girl came out and all opened the passenger door and started screaming and yelling at somebody in the car.
So the girl who came out of the passenger, you're talking about the front passenger?
No, the rear.
The rear passenger. So the girl comes out of the rear passenger, and she goes to the front passenger,
Yes.
and she opens up the car door,
Yes.
and then what happens?
They're screaming and shouting at each other, and they start fighting.
The two girls.
Yeah, I can see one like feet coming out trying to kick her, and the other one's fighting, and then the passenger gets out.
So the girl who does the punching and the kicking is the girl that comes out of the back passenger?
Can we stop there? Because I don't want to. I'll tell you, and then I want to get my son's on his own.
Yeah, I understand. And it's loud with the cars.
I don't really want to. So basically, the car stopped. The girl in the back got out, started screaming and shouting, ripped the door, pulled the door open, but pulled it so sort of viciously. That's why I presume the driver got out. She starts screaming. She starts hitting the girl. The girl on the side, her feet come out. She starts to kick the girl away. Passenger. They get out. They start fighting here. They start fighting. The driver comes around and tries to sort of break it up. It gets a bit more violent. And between them, the girl then climbs back into the front row of the passenger seat.
Where's the shorter black guy?
He's in the back.
He's in the back of the car? Okay.
Did you hear that?
Ridiculous.
Let's play it one more time. Make sure you're reading the screen. This is the witness moments after the incident. What reason did he have to lie? And he also participated in a preliminary hearing in 2021, and he said the same thing. His story only changed when he made it to trial. Okay?
The doors of the Escalade open, and
Thank you.
How convenient.
the girl came out and all open the passenger door and
It's
started
fucking that.
screaming and yelling at somebody in the car.
So the girl who came out of the passenger, you're talking about the front passenger?
No, the rear.
The rear passenger. So the girl comes out of the rear passenger, and she goes to the front passenger,
Yes.
and she opens up the car door,
Yes.
and then what happens?
They're screaming and shouting at each other, and they start fighting.
The two girls.
Yeah, I can see one like feet coming out trying to kick her, and the other one's fighting, and then the passenger gets out.
So the girl who does the punching and the kicking is the girl that comes out of the back passenger?
Can we stop there? Because I don't want to. I'll tell you, and then I want to get my son's on his own.
Yeah, I understand. And it's loud with the cars.
I don't really want to. So basically, the car stopped. The girl in the back got out, started screaming and shouting, ripped the door, pulled the door open, but pulled it so sort of viciously. That's why I presume the driver got out. She starts screaming. She starts hitting the girl. The girl on the side, her feet come out. She starts to kick the girl away. Passenger. They get out. They start fighting here. They start fighting. The driver comes around and tries to sort of break it up. It gets a bit more violent. And between them, the girl then climbs back into the front row of the passenger seat.
Where's the shorter black guy?
He's in the back.
He's in the back of the car? Okay.
Okay. Now, this is the question I pose to you at this time. Even if Megan lied to the people for whatever she said her reason was, what reason would Sean Kelly have to tell police officers that? And why do both of the women act like it did not happen? Okay. Let's go ahead and pull up another audio clip.
Then the gun, and the girl shoots.
Did you hear what he said? And the girl shoots. That is what he said. An eyewitness who was only worried about his son. He was asleep. When his car stops in front of his home, all this damn noise, he calls the police. Get these niggas out of here. And it's been turned into all of this shit. But who did he say was shooting? He said the girl.
Then the gun, and the girl shoots. So the driver's door's open.
You're seeing the girl shoot?
Can I help you? Is it this house?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So you see the girl doing the shooting?
I see what appears to be the girl standing here and going, shooting into the car. That's what it looked like to me.
Ridiculous.
Did you hear what he said?
Ridiculous, bro.
And for everybody asking, was this presented in court? No.
No.
No, 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 no. It was not. Why not?
And before she continues, I'm gonna pause it here. I should have said this earlier. The lady doing this presentation, Milagro Gramz, she was at the court hearing. She was there every day taking notes. She knows what was presented in court. So she's not just speaking out of her ass. She was actually there every day and seeing what was being presented to the jury and all that. So if she says it wasn't in court, it wasn't in the court.
What did he say?
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So you see the girl doing the shooting?
I see what appears to be the girl standing here and going in drop shooting into the car. That's what it looked like to me. But it was dark and I'm above, so. But then the guy gets out again from the back.
Okay. Sworn eyewitness testimony. So key witnesses corroborate Sean Kelly's story. That's 10 and 11. So we have the sworn affidavit from Jaquan Smith, that is Tory's bodyguard. This is a little blurry, but I'm gonna try my best to make it out. It says, I was the driver and bodyguard of Mr. Daystar Peterson, who is better known as Tory Lanez, in July 2020. Mr. Peterson has been known to me for 7 years. At the time of the incident, I had worked with Mr. Peterson for 3 years. He's not only been my employer, but I also consider him to be a close personal friend. On July 12, 2020, I was asked to drive Mr. Peterson to the home of Kylie Jenner, who Miss Megan Pete and Kelsey Harris were present. Mr. Peterson was at Miss Jenner's house for approximately 2 hours when I received a call to come pick up Miss Pete and Miss Harris. Miss Pete, Miss Harris, and myself left Miss Jenner's home, but I was asked by Miss Pete to return because she stated that she had forgotten a shoe. When we arrived at Miss Jenner's home at this time, Miss Harris Kelsey stayed in the car while Megan exited. Megan did not enter the home at this time, as she went around the back to the pool area where Mr. Peterson was located. Both Miss Pete and Mr. Peterson returned to the car after a few minutes, and Miss Pete was bickering, but I was unsure of the exact words she was saying. She seemed upset. The four of us left Miss Jenner's residence. As I began to drive, Miss Pete started to fight with Mr. Peterson. They were going back and forth. I remember Mr. Peterson saying to Miss Pete that he was going to tell Miss Harris what was going on. I do not remember what street we were on, but Miss Pete asked me to stop the vehicle. I did as she asked, and Miss Pete went on to sit on a nearby bus stop. Mr. Peterson went and spoke with Miss Pete, and after about 2 minutes, they returned to the car, and I began driving again. Miss Pete started the argument again, and Miss Harris asked what was going on. Mr. Peterson told her that he and Miss Pete had been dating, and they were intimate. Miss Harris was upset by this, as she and Mr. Peterson had been dating in the same manner prior to any relationship with Miss Pete. Miss Pete and Miss Harris began fighting. I pulled over to stop them. Miss Pete and Miss Harris both got out of the vehicle and continued to fight, both verbally and physically. I broke up this fight and was pulling Miss Pete toward the back of the car. I saw Miss Harris with a gun in her hand. Mr. Peterson ran from behind Miss Pete and myself towards Miss Harris. Mr. Peterson and Miss Harris began struggling as Mr. Peterson tried to unarm Miss Harris. I was still pulling Miss Pete and didn't see who shot the weapon. I was lucky I wasn't harmed, and in my opinion, Miss Pete was also fortunate. The whole incident happened so quickly, within just a matter of minutes. I wanted to present this evidence during the trial, but I was prevented from doing so as the district attorney was not ready to cross-examine me. And later, they did not call me due to the holidays in the court schedule. I believe I should have been allowed to present this evidence at trial. All right. This is the sworn affidavit from Bradley James. This was Kelsey's driver. Line 6. Miss Kelsey Harris hired Elite Security to accompany her to the court the 2 days she was testifying. This is the only time she's been a client. I haven't worked for Daystar Peterson nor Megan Pete. I heard these statements as we were in the car, getting a bite to eat after court. We went to a restaurant, Kyle Fixin's. Miss Harris and the father of her child were the only people in the car. She later also said similar statements to her attorney of record in front of the courthouse and in the cafeteria. She was nervous and speaking generally, asking questions. Her lawyer was telling her that it would be okay and that she could just plead the fifth if she was uncomfortable. I heard Miss Harris question, how can I not tell on myself? And how am I protected if I tell certain things? The father of her child explained immunity to her. At Fixin's, Kelsey stated that she shot the gun 3 times in the air and that Daystar Peterson ran up to her and grabbed her arm, pushing it down, causing the gun to fire twice more. I have not said these statements until now, as I've heard rumors of the threats that others have received from being involved in this case. Also, I didn't want to lose my employment, as I rely on such to care for my children. I was trying not to eavesdrop, but I couldn't help but overhear these statements. Generally, Elite Security does follow confidentiality, yet we do not have such an agreement on file. And I decided to come forward, as this has been weighing on my conscience, and I decided the right thing to do is to come forward with this information. This was submitted on the 28th day of August back in 2024. EJ's testimony suggests that there's a gun in the girl's bag. EJ King, Megan's former stylist, said an object in her purse looked like a handgun. That's Exhibit 12. EJ said that he may have seen things that looked like a gun in the bag or purse, but he never asked questions or confirmed what they were. Exhibit 13 says this adds to the reasonable doubt. If Kelsey had the gun, there's a great possibility that Tory cannot be the shooter. Exhibit 12 says, you can't tell us it's for sure a handgun, but you've seen something like a handgun. Is that fair to say? Yes. Sir, let me blow this up for you. Can you see that? Question. Sir, when we were upstairs just a few minutes ago, do you recall stating that you had seen things that look like handguns? EJ's answer. Oh yeah, it looks like, but like I said, if I picked it up, no, but something like it, yes. Well, let me ask you this. You may not have picked that up, and you're telling us that you don't know if it's an actual working firearm, correct? Right. Have you seen anything in any of the bags or any time you've been out without security? Have you seen anything that resembles something that looked like a weapon, a firearm? Possibly, yes. What do you mean possibly? Is that a yes, sir? Yes, possibly. I don't go through them to check for a firearm, but I may have seen stuff in bags that I packed. But like I said, I haven't. You never asked questions. You never asked, what's this? Is it a firearm? No. So EJ was undoubtedly the best witness on the stand. He did not come to waste time. He was clear. He was concise. Didn't bat an eye, straight through. And it gave off the impression that he was just giving truth, because it just flowed so easy. You don't have to remember the truth. It's the lies you got to keep up with. So I think, and I appreciate his answer, because he said, listen, I cannot confirm. All I can say is I've seen something that looks like it, but I am going through people's shit I never asked. But I'm not going to act like I didn't see something that looked like it, you know? That's all you can do, okay? All right. Harris's testimony, inconsistent and unreliable. Kelsey Harris initially told prosecutors she witnessed the shooting, but later recanted on the stand, admitting that she lied under pressure. Her Fifth Amendment plea and contradictions compelled the prosecution to introduce her prior statements in full, highlighting their unreliability. Her credibility was compromised, raising reasonable doubt. Those are exhibits 14 through 17. Number 14, answer. I can't tell you the time, but yes, July 12, 2020. And you saw what happened during that shooting, didn't you? I mean, again, no. The way I was positioned, honestly, no. Number 15. Okay. In September, when you interviewed with us, it was not a blur, correct? Again, I said things to protect myself that night. Okay, well, you said that day. You said it was a blur. You're trying to protect yourself, but you're telling us that you didn't see anything or you didn't hear anything. It's a blur. Is that right? I mean, I didn't see anything. So, Exhibit 16. Again, when I spoke with you, I said a few different things. Did you shoot Tory? Or excuse me, did you shoot Megan? No. Who shot Megan? Again, when I was getting out of the car, all I heard was shots. I didn't actually see. Number 17.
Ridiculous.
Did you tell us that when you looked at maybe the second or third gunshot, that's when you see Tory, and that he's in the front seat, and he may have jumped over into the front seat, and he's leaning over the door, over the window? Do you remember telling us that? Again, our interview was not 100% truthful. All right. Kelsey confirms she was not bribed. And I just want to say this one more time. They said, don't read the big bold headlines. Read the real shit. Tamika Mallory challenged me. She said, y'all need to read. That's what made me go after the preliminary reports, actually. It was Tamika. Anyway, you are getting testimony. And since sworn testimony is so important to them, because they just put that in their PowerPoint presentation, then I think that you should accept it. That's what I think. Okay. Kelsey confirms that she was not bribed. Kelsey Harris testified under oath that no bribery occurred. No financial records or corroborating evidence support the bribery claim. That's 18A. There's also been a lot of talk about bribery, and before I go into the facts, I want to talk about that. Has my client paid you anything? No. There's talk about hush money that Megan's people put out there. Has my client paid any money to you, ma'am? No. And I would actually like to make that very clear, because I've seen some things earlier from her attorney, and I'm tired of that lie. No. That is what she said on the stand in a court of law. 18B. After the incident, Kelsey received rent for an entire year after not speaking with Megan since the incident.
Ow.
Covered by Megan's team. The term they has been used repeatedly. Why? Kelsey Harris, I never asked them to. Deputy District Attorney Bott got it. Kelsey Harris continued. I never asked them to give me a spot. They did this voluntarily and for a year, which was not normal. That's what Kelsey said. In her own words, he's standing up over the window shooting, but he never touched the gun.
In the car, shooting from the car, Megan?
He is standing up over the window, shooting.
We know that the gun wasn't wiped because of what they were able to pull off of it. So with that knowledge, let's go into this. DNA proves Tory Lanez's innocence. A forensic expert testified that 90% of the DNA on the weapon belonged to an unknown male, not Tory Lanez. That's Exhibit 19A. His DNA was not found on the magazine. That's Exhibit 19B. Software used for analysis had documented instability and potential for false matches. An expert testified that if Tory had fired the gun 5 times, his DNA would be expected on the weapon, but it was not found. That is Exhibit 19C. Female DNA was found on the gun. Kelsey tested positive for gunshot residue, but her DNA was never tested against the gun. That is Exhibit 19D. Tory Lanez's DNA was not on the magazine, and only 0.01% was on the firearm. This amount is incredibly small, equivalent to picking a blade of grass from a football field. Could you please close your eyes and think about how vast a football field is? And then think about going and plucking one piece of grass from that bitch. That's the likelihood if they start touching that weapon. Okay? So, hello. Now, hold on. I was reading something. Let's go ahead and get into these exhibits. Oh, okay. I was able to blow it up so we can look at it. 19A. The mixture of donors in the sample, 5111 of the gun, was estimated by the STR mix software as 90%, 5%, 3%, and 2% donors. The major donor, 90% of DNA, could reliably be deduced from the mixture of DNA, and it did not match the defendant. From the donors of 5%, 3%, and 2% of DNA in the mixture, no DNA profile could be deduced. The latter indicates that the data of these donors is not reliable for comparisons with other donors. 19B. Now, let's go back to the same thing with the magazine. You talked about the handgun. Can you tell us what or explain what the LAPD concluded after testifying of the swab as to the magazine from this case? Yes. When they tested the magazine, they saw that they had, again, at least 4 people. And so coincidence? Maybe not. They on together, the magazine and the gun. There may be some similarities there. And looking at that, they absolutely excluded Daystar Peterson. He's not one of those 4 people. He's not on the magazine. And so when they take a look at that, that's a clear exclusion. Can't be there. This was stated in a court of law from a professional. There was no way possible that it was him. Sir, counsel keeps saying about the gun touching the gun. You can't exclude Mr. Peterson, sir. Is there any evidence as you sit here that people can say that Mr. Peterson touched that gun? Yes or no? No. And is that the same opinion that the LAPD criminalist has? That's correct. Sir, again, I'm going to ask you this hypothetical, and I'm going to leave out the fact that it's my gun. If I pick up a gun from the inside of a vehicle, I take that gun, I get out of the car, I shoot 5 times, I put that gun back in the car, would you expect my DNA to be on that gun, sir? I would, yes. Is my client, Mr. Peterson's DNA on the gun, sir? Not that we can tell, no. I have no further questions. 19D. So we know 1 male DNA was found on the handgun. At least one. At least one. Do we know if there's a possibility of female DNA being on that gun? Yes. We also see an indication that there's DNA from a female there, based on the balance of the X and Y chromosomes that are present. A woman touched that gun. Period. And is it a coincidence that Kelsey had gunshot residue on her? They said, FYI, Tory Lanez's defense expert didn't receive the STR mix worksheet until the last minute due to a Brady violation. The worksheet, only turned over at the defense's request, showed Tory Lanez was just a 0.01% contributor to the gun and excluded on the magazine, limiting the defense's ability to properly challenge the DNA evidence. The prosecution used up all of the DNA sample, so it could not be retested. In her own words, why would I lie? Why alter the text, is what the screen says.
Why would I lie? You want me to be a bad person so bad, and y'all motherfuckers want to believe the lie before you believe the truth.
Okay. Hold on real quick. All right. Give me 1 second. I have a question. Is this new evidence? Okay. I don't know. Is this new evidence? Are these things that you had seen before? When all of her team came out and rebutted everything that Daystar's people were saying, was this in mind, or did they feel like we would never see it? Were they so confident that this was buried so deep that they could just come up and tell everybody, ain't no new damn evidence, they saying the same thing, don't listen to them? I mean, that's kind of how it seems at this point. Okay? You've never seen that hospital video before? You've never heard Sean Kelly's audio before? Child, you ain't seen them going, some of them angles from them cops, you ain't seen that body cam footage? Hell no, you ain't seen that shit. Bitch, lie again. Okay. So, text message evidence appears edited. So do y'all remember when they put out that PowerPoint presentation? Y'all noticed pretty quickly that something was different about them. They said text messages used in court, Exhibit 20 and 21, differ from versions shared publicly by Megan's team. So the text in evidence, it says, help, Tory shot Meg, 911. What they posted online in that PowerPoint says, help, Tory shot Meg and handled me, 911. It said, missing phrases raise questions about whether evidence presented to the jury and now to the public was selectively edited or incomplete. In her own words, dance bitch. Did he really say that?
And all I hear is this man screaming. He said, dance.
Okay, that's what she said. That's all she heard. They said the audio undermines the dance bitch claim. The now public Ring camera audio confirms 5 gunshots, but it doesn't capture Tory Lanez saying dance bitch. Question. You could hear their conversation, correct? Yeah, quite clearly. Excuse me? Quite clearly. Quite clearly. But at any point, did you hear anybody say dance bitch? No. When you got out of the car, did anybody say dance bitch? Did you hear a word? Did anybody saying dance bitch? No. I don't know where that came from. No. Sean Kelly and Kelsey Harris testified that they did not hear Tory make that statement. Okay? So that's what this is right here. They said only Megan has claimed this. It's unsupported by any audio or witness evidence. In her own words, I thought the doctors were the police. They said, which doctor, Megan?
I get to the hospital, the doctors do x-rays on my feet. Oh, ma'am, you got bullets in your feet, got bullet fragments in your other foot. I'm thinking the doctors is the police, so I'm still trying not to tell them, like, no, I didn't know I got shot. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared. Like, I've never been shot before. I don't have to lie about that.
Okay. And so it says, medical facts don't match the narrative. Despite these conflicting reports, exhibits 24, 25, and 26, none of these doctors were called to testify. It says, Dr. Anthony Lafredo from the ER, July 12, 2020, described the injury as a laceration from broken glass. There is no mention of gunshot wounds, fragments, or ballistic trauma. He also described Megan as pleasant with no acute distress. She wasn't in any type of distress. Okay? That's what he said. And this is the initial report that is actual and factual. It's blurry, but that's the report from Dr. Lafredo. Okay. Dr. Milton, this is the one that comes and says in a report that we got fragments. Dr. Milton Little, orthopedic, on July 12, 2020, diagnosed bilateral gunshot wounds based on imaging. He removed 3 small fragments under general anesthesia and called the wounds superficial, yet performed surgery. He claimed that fragments were bagged and given to police. Where are they now? Number 26. Dr. Anna Howell, plastic surgery. Well, I've never seen that before. Who the hell is this? Dr. Anna Howell, plastic surgery, July 13, 2020, described wounds as superficial and cleanly closed. X-rays showed no fractures, minimal residual shrapnel. Dr. Howell treated for cellulitis, which is an infection, discharged without the mention of ballistic trauma. So I get, you know how some celebrities are, they don't like to have scars. So even after someone has done something on like a doctor, they'll go to a plastic surgeon because, hey, what can we do to make this as smooth as possible? So they're claiming that Megan went to a plastic surgeon on the 13th. Okay, and this was at the Cedar-Sinai Medical Center. I was gonna ask, went to, or did they come to her in the hospital, because I thought she had to sit in there a few days, child. So they said that the woman from plastic surgery the next day, they said, I thought that she said bullet fragments were left in her foot. She did. But on 7/13, after the doctor claimed he took these as much as he could out of her foot, she reported that the wounds were superficial and cleanly closed. The X-rays showed no fractures and minimal residual shrapnel. She treated her for cellulitis, which is an infection. Let me Google that. Yeah, because let's get into that word. Let's break that down. What is cellulitis, child? It's a bacterial skin infection affecting the deeper layers of the skin and underlying tissue, often causing pain, swelling, and redness. It can be serious if left untreated, potentially leading to complications like bloodstream infections. Okay. And you want to know why she probably had it by the 13th? Because she said she had already cut her foot. You can cut it and recut it and cut it again. They said, what are the risk factors? Breaks in the skin, such as what? Cuts, scrapes, burns, or insect bites. Well, isn't that interesting? A doctor claims that he treated her for cellulitis. And what are some of the risk factors for it? Breaks in the skin, such as cuts, scrapes, burns, or insect bites. This can increase the risk. Oh no, we don't give a shit about that. Okay? They said this is usually treated with antibiotics. And okay, but didn't say anything about a gun or fragments or whatever. So that's interesting. Forensic red flags and medical doubt. Key medical findings. They said radiology report. No radiopack foreign bodies. They said no bullet fragments clearly visible on the x-ray. That's line 27. They said estimated blood loss was only 5 milliliters. That is far too low for gunshot wounds to both feet. Wound closure. Wounds were closed immediately. Uncommon for gunshot injuries due to the risk of infection. No bone or joint damage. That is rare for true gunfire-related foot injuries. Bullet fragments removed by Dr. Little but never preserved. The detectives admitted in court that the fragments were lost. That's Exhibit 28. Conflicting diagnoses, which is number 29. Broken glass, that was documented by the ER doctor, Dr. Lafredo. Gunshot wound came from the ortho doctor, Dr. Little, and then cellulitis, an infection, from the plastic surgeon, Dr. Howell. Much of this evidence was never presented at trial. Tory Lanez's original trial counsel joined the case late, limiting the defense's ability to investigate these medical inconsistencies. Let us zoom in on this. Line 27. Or Exhibit 27, imaging. I have evaluated the following imaging, which shows x-rays of bilateral feet, bilateral calcaneus left tib fib, and CT of bilateral feet demonstrates no acute fractures. There are no radiopack foreign bodies concerning for bullet fragments present in both the left and right hind foot. She literally said, there are no foreign bodies concerning for bullet fragments present in either foot. 28. The 3 bullet fragments were saved, packaged according to standard protocol, and passed off to the appropriate authorities. Multiplanar fluoride and shit and toothpaste was then obtained of the bilateral feet, demonstrating successful removal of the major bullet fragments. There were tiny fragments of retained missile that were noted, however, deemed too small to attempt retrieval. So what the hell are you talking about? So which doctor is stupid, is my question. Is it Dr. Lafredo, Dr. Little, or Dr. Howell? Which one of you is a lying idiot? Because, I mean, y'all obviously went to some very different schools and learned some very different things. What the hell is going on? And why does it seem like it was the nigga in the equation? Was he the only one that was willing to compromise himself that way? Appears so. You can't perjure yourself if you don't get on the stand and lie. Why weren't they called to the stand? The fragments went missing. At preliminary hearings, detectives stated bullet fragments were missing. That's Exhibit 30. Prosecutors later claimed that the LAPD had them, an inconsistency suggesting evidence mismanagement or miscommunication. Prosecutors claimed the LAPD still has the bullet fragments allegedly removed from Megan's foot. Yet, during the preliminary hearing, Detective Ryan Stogner stated the fragments were missing. If LAPD had the fragments, why did the lead investigator testify in this manner? The chain of custody comes to question with such a clear error. This casts doubt on the integrity and completeness of the evidence. Let's get into it. Now, the bullet fragments, which were allegedly removed from Megan's ankles, they can't be located, correct? Correct. And you indicated that you reviewed the medical reports from Cedars, or at least some of them. Thank you. Yes. Did you read the report that called the findings superficial injuries? Yes. Nothing further. Okay. Nothing further. They said Megan's faulty claims and medical records. On August 17th, she went to the club with an ace bandage on her left foot, despite claiming to have been shot in both feet. Was there a lot of pain afterwards? Yes. I couldn't walk for a while, and I couldn't feel the left side of my left foot. Did you have nerve damage? Yes, I still have nerve damage. And what do you mean by that? I can't really feel the left side of my foot. The doctor on the stand. And based on your experience, did you see anything that there was any nerve damage or any of those fragments penetrate and touch the nerve or any of that? Did you see anything like that? We did not identify any nerve involvement on the left side. No further questions. So when I'm being sued and being asked, oh, you asked if she had perjured herself, if she lied again to the courts. The doctor said she doesn't have nerve damage. Is that not an inconsistency? I sat right there and listened to the doctor say she does not have nerve damage. So what the hell are you talking about? Okay. There was also no sign of nerve damage per the doctor's testimony, even though Megan insisted that she suffered from nerve damage. Moments that show that Tory cared. Contrary to popular belief, Tory showed care and concern for Megan.
Address that the incident occurred? The shooting happened?
Nah, I don't know the address, bro. I was just trying to help my girlfriend. 1 second, bro.
Stay right here for me, bro. Hey, we got an ambulance coming for her. Okay? Hey, bro, step up right here. We got an ambulance coming for her. All right?
Just a quick question.
It's gonna be good.
Do you have any injuries on you?
No, I don't.
Do you need an R?
I got to come for your friend now, okay?
You heard him. He was trying to protect his girlfriend, Megan. Yo, Mego, you okay? Why did the courts only allow you to see Kelsey showing concern, but not Daystar? Oh, because he's a monster, right?
Address that the incident occurred? The shooting happened?
Nah, I don't know the address, bro. I was just trying to help my girlfriend. 1 second, bro.
Stay right here for me, bro.
Mego.
Hey, we got an ambulance coming for her. Okay? Hey, bro, step up right here. We got an ambulance coming for her. All right?
He told her.
It's gonna be good.
Do you remember in Daystar's song, he said, when you stepped out that car, I told you everything will be okay? That's what he just said to her. He just said everything gonna be okay. That's what he told her. Only to get accused of hurting her. Huh. Hello? And then at the beginning, the first reports were that he was just trying to protect his girl. And that's what he said. Why would he lie and say that? Protect her from what? Huh? Hello? Did you hear Megan say, don't talk to me, you shot me? No.
Nothing. Why?
Address
Nothing like
that the
that.
incident occurred? The shooting happened?
Nah, I don't know the address, bro. I was just trying to help my girlfriend. 1 second, bro.
Stay right here for me, bro.
Mego.
Hey, we got an ambulance coming for her. Okay? Hey, bro, step up right here. We got an ambulance coming for her. All right?
Just a quick question.
It's gonna be good.
Do you have any injuries on you?
No, I don't.
Do you need an R?
I got to come for your friend now, okay?
All right. The police station.
Do you want to talk about what happened tonight? Your girl to safety?
All he was concerned about was his girl's safety.
Do you want to talk about what happened tonight? Your girl to safety?
He was only concerned with her safety. I mean, talk about what? I'm just trying to make sure she's okay. That's all. That's the man that just almost got stabbed to death. Okay? You remember that video that they put online? You just watched him almost lose his life? Had he not slipped out of that sweatshirt and took off, and if the hand of God had not protected him, he would have died. Both of his lungs collapsed. He was bleeding out. They had to airlift him and shit. That nigga. Okay. Misinterpreted apology. What Tory really meant. Many have pointed to Tory Lanez's jail call as an admission of guilt in the shooting, but this is a misrepresentation. Tory has publicly clarified that his apology was never about a shooting, but about the drama caused by sleeping with 2 close friends and getting caught. He acknowledged that his actions created a volatile situation, but firmly stated, "I would never do anything like this." Prosecutorial misconduct concerns. Prosecutors, I don't know why I broke that up like that. They intended to use Tory Lanez's rap lyrics, tattoos, and uncharged prior incidents to prejudice the jury. Mentioning Tory Lanez's right to not testify potentially violated his constitutional protections. Tory Lanez's choice to testify or not is a protected constitutional right. The fact that a defendant does not testify on his own behalf should not be fodder for the courts, nor an interpretation of guilt. Justice requires clarity, fairness, and facts, not assumptions. And that is the end of the presentation. Somebody just came over here and said he's guilty, and that's it.
After all that.
So why did you come and sit for an hour and 30 minutes
after
and
all
listen
that
to any of this shit?
You still gonna say he guilty. And that's the problem.
Make it make sense.
That's the problem right
if
there.
If you think he's so guilty, why when you saw that title did you fucking press it? Shut the fuck up. All right, you guys, I don't want to clog this video up with a whole bunch of extra shit. We'll talk about this elsewhere. But
the main reason I wanted to bring this to YouTube is because Milagro did not put this on YouTube yet, and I'm not sure. It was just on her Twitch. So I don't have too many thoughts. If all this is true, Tory at least needs a retrial, at the least, with this new evidence included, because this shit is egregious. This shit is ridiculous. And Megan, you're full of shit. Rock Nation, Jay-Z, Desiree Perez, all of y'all. I still would like to know, like, what was the real reason to do this to Tory? Like, for what? You know, maybe that'll come out one day. Maybe it won't. I've been J Stat. That ain't this. Peace.